Today's episode is sponsored by Haunters Against Hate, an LGBTQ organization made up of character actors from haunted locations dedicated to promoting inclusion and acceptance. Haunters Against Hate will be having their second event this July in Lexington, Kentucky. Please visit www.hauntersagainst-hate.com for more information, to make a donation, or to purchase items. Proceeds from sales go to benefit different LGBTQ organizations across the country. Hi, everybody. This is Sarah from Drunken Housewife Reviews, and this is
Ian, her host husband, trying to keep her in line best I can.
Full-time job. Having some margaritas today and talking with Allison Kirch, author, amazing human being, and just I think all around my new BFF just from everything I've been reading about you. So I'm just warning you, I think we're going to be BFFs here. I've already read Marley, the other Christmas Carol, which I loved because I wondered what happened to Marley after the Christmas Carol. Yeah, it's like, did Marley get his redemption? What happened with Marley? Tell me what's going on with Marley. And right now I'm in the middle of Dark Passenger.
Ooh, my favorite.
So they're just boarding the Titanic. So don't give me no spoilers. No spoilers. But yeah, ancient Egypt and the Titanic and I am I'm there for it.
She is super excited.
I am super excited for it. And you are also Star Trek fan. Yeah, Babylon, which he's excited about because
I'm wearing a disco shirt.
Oh, you're wearing disco.
Oh, there you go.
This is our sponsor.
Yes. Show the merch
for this show, Haunters Against Hate, which is a massive, just awesome organization.
We'll tell her about them.
Yes, I should tell you. Yeah, it's an LGBTQ organization made up of haunters from different haunted locations. They promote inclusion and positivity and education, and it's just an awesome group.
Well, they're scaring the bejesus
out of people. And then when they're not doing that, then they're at all these haunted attractions. Your fear farms, your terror towers, scaring the crap out of you. So, but they're fun people. I don't know what it is. I work a horror movie convention, and every single actor that I've ever encountered that's played the killer in a horror movie is an awesome human being off screen. So
that makes sense.
I think they get it. Yeah, I think they get it all out.
It's more fun for a nice person to play a villain because it gives them a chance to let out those Freudian slips.
Yeah. I think you get it all out, so you don't have it in you. It's like cathartic or something. I don't know. Oh. But one thing I'm so interested in talking to you about, because I have to know, you visited the Sally house.
Yes, back in 2004.
What happened? Because and the paranormal and me,
Well, we were very fortunate. We got in touch with the owner, and the house was at that time a rental property.
Okay.
It was in between clients, so we didn't have to be good-mannered and say, can we go in your room and mess up your underwear drawer? That kind of stuff. But we went there. We were allowed to stay there for 2 straight weekends.
Oh, wow.
It was interesting. I went in as a skeptic because I was always under the impression that sometimes being psychosomatic could be, one of the issues.
Yeah.
So I was put in charge of keeping the notes, the minutes, and observations and stuff. We had me, the skeptic. We had a Wiccan practitioner.
Okay.
We had a psychic. We had 2 or 3 camera people and a sound guy who worked on the local news station here. So we went in and we're filming. First day, within 20 minutes of being there, the cameraman got deathly ill. One of the cameramen got deathly ill and he couldn't get his camera to work.
Oh, wow.
Ultimately, he went home and refused to come back.
Oh, I can't blame him.
We never did find out why. Then, as the time went on, you do the boring stuff because time is on the side of the spirits. They can do whatever they want or not do whatever they want.
Exactly.
And not that much really happened on the first day, except that we did weird out the neighbors, and I can understand why.
Well,
Well,
yeah. It's fun to mess
So,
with the normals, is what I always say. It's just fun to mess
yes,
with them.
yeah. Now, on the second weekend, though, that was the one where everything happened.
Oh.
Um, we went down into the basement, and the
Uh-huh.
basement of the Sally house is just simple riverbed rock, a furnace, a brick wall in the back with a hole in it that has this like gaping dirt space in the back for reasons I don't know. We went down in the basement. We wanted to try out the new night vision feature on one of our cameras.
Oh.
So we turned off the lights and we're just standing there, and the cameraman's taking pictures of everybody. And somebody lets out a ah. So we turn on the lights.
Mhm.
Someone was hit with a brick.
Oh my
And
gosh.
like I
Oh my
said,
God.
there's no loose bricks down there. It's just riverbed rock. Hence,
Yeah.
except for the brick wall in the back, and you can tell that if oh, I'm going to take this brick and throw it at somebody, you would know.
Yeah.
So we said, okay. We thought we had a practical joker on our hands. So we turned off the light again, and sure enough, before we can even get the night vision to focus, somebody screamed they were hit by another brick. That happened about 4 times. Now, this is interesting. We had
Wow.
about 8 people down there, mixed equally with male and female.
Mm-hmm.
The only ones that were hit in the dark were the males.
Oh.
And Sally has a
Interesting.
reputation of only attacking men.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, it was a
after that,
male that was responsible
oh
for
yeah,
her
yeah,
death.
yeah.
So yeah.
Um,
He doesn't know the history, so I'll clue him in here in a minute. But
No,
keep
that's
going with your
okay.
story.
I'm following you along. It's all good.
when the cameraman pointed his night vision down to the basement floor, he caught a pentagram in somebody like spray painted a pentagram. In all our
Mhm.
excitement, I mean, I didn't look at the floor. I mean, who looks at the floor? I mean,
Yeah.
and then we turned on the lights, and there it was. It was like a little slightly darker shade of black than what was there on the floor, and that was weird. So we all left the
Yeah.
basement. We never went back again.
Yeah. I would imagine bricks
Oh
flying
God.
everywhere. Yeah.
And then there was the incident where I got personally attacked by a ghost, 2 of
Oh.
them.
Oh.
We were upstairs near the Sally Bear house, but
Mhm.
room. There's a room where they put like stuffed bears in there for Sally to honor them when they come in. So we were filming there, and the psychic was doing her woe is me stuff, and I was not impressed. And I was going down this long staircase to the main floor. I got about 3 or 4 steps down, and I opened up my notebook, and I was putting in there, this psychic is bullshit. And just as I said that, pardon my French, just as I said that, I felt a pair of adult female hands go up and clasp my shoulders like this.
Oh.
And then I felt a pair of child hands grab my ankles like that. And I paused for a moment, and I did consider that it could have been a psychosomatic episode, because I read
Yeah.
up on the Valley House.
Sure.
I kept up with it. I learned about it when it was first called the Heartland Haunting, and it was featured on the Sightings television show.
Yeah.
But just as I started thinking that, the hands on my shoulders did this, and the hands on my ankles did that. And if it
Oh.
hadn't been for me immediately dropping everything and put my hand against the wall and the other one on the banister, I would have gone down this staircase and possibly broke my neck.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And later on, one of the cameramen, who didn't take a picture of it, darn it, but I wish he would have, said that he thought that I was standing on my tippy toes before I went down this, almost went down the stairs. And I said, why in the world would someone stand on their tippy toes on stairs?
Yeah.
But that turned me from a skeptic to
Yeah.
to an optimistic, neutral, interested party.
Yeah.
I still
Okay.
believe in the possibility that people can be fooled, and I
Yes.
still believe in the power of suggestion. But I have to accept a questioning possibility that this phenomenon is legit, and
Yeah.
it was probably the only way Sally could convince me that she was there. But
Yeah.
for the life of me, I can't figure out, is the child Sally and the adult woman her mom, or is there probably unknown ghosts there that just were attracted to me because they realized that I wasn't
Yeah.
really caring about it. It was
Yeah.
interesting. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm curious because I know for those that don't know, the Sally House is in Atkinson, Kansas. Atchison, Kansas. And it's rumored to be haunted by a little girl named Sally who died while being operated on for appendicitis by Dr. Finley, who owned the house at the time. So it would make sense she would see the male responsible for her death. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the adult is another unfortunate patient of his, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
Could be. I didn't think that.
yeah, just, I mean, from my own research in the paranormal and all that, it's always been pointed out the land's been there forever. You know, the house may have been built in like 17 whatever, but the land was there before. So, you know, is it with the house? Is it with the land? You don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I need that. Sally House is on my bucket list. So
Yeah.
I'm adding that. Yeah. So let's talk about your writings to kind of address the elephant in the room, sort of. You are trans.
Yes, I am.
You wrote under Donald Allen Kirch. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's my original name.
That's your original name. And I read somewhere where you kind of called it like your origin name.
Origin name,
because you don't refer to it.
Yeah, I don't really like the term dead name. I honor who I used to be, because without him, I would not exist.
Yes.
Okay.
He was my origin.
Okay.
And God knows he went through a lot of, minutia to get where I am. And that should be honored. Those books that he wrote, he will be honored for.
Yes. Yeah. Because don't come at me, people in the comments. I'm not dead naming by mentioning Donald. But
well, I think it's more or less an evolution into finding out who you really
an evolution
are,
to your true self.
and just who you were is not necessarily who you are at this point. So it's a constant state of change, and I think that is a legitimate thing, not naming it a dead name in as much as it is who you were at that time. So origin, I think, is a very good term.
Yeah. Plus, it has kind of a superhero vibe to it. So
there you go.
I like it. I love it. I love it.
I have a group that I go to where we're all trans, and we, frustrate and project the demons that we have to face and take care of and conquer. Yes. And I was called out. And they said you should call it your dead name. Unfortunately, I am hiring a lawyer. I hired a lawyer. I'm legally getting my name changed and my gender marker changed. But that will not take away the hours of work, labor, and frustration that he went through writing these books. Yeah. So they're going to be, you could just look at them as my Bachman books.
Yeah. Because there are so many authors that do write books under other names. But what gets me is, people who try to tell you how you should transition according to what they want you to do. And it's like, no, this is my personal journey. This is, it's like one thing I hear with people who identify as bisexual. It's like, oh, well, if you're bisexual, then you should end up with somebody of the same gender as you. Well, no, bi means liking both.
Yeah.
And it's like, you fall in love with the person, not the gender. It's just, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a lot of comments. People are typing right now. And
the fantastic thing about love is that it has no boundaries. It has no limitations.
Exactly. But that's just one thing that's always frustrated me. It's like, this is my journey. I'll listen to your input, but ultimately how you decide to live your life is your decision. How you decide to label everything is your decision. What is comfortable with you. And like I said, I love origin name because it sounds like superhero. This is who I was before I became Wonder Woman. Or
this
whatever,
is my origin issue.
Yeah. And because you wrote many books that I am slowly working my way through.
No.
Like I said, I'm already just like in love with Dark Passenger. So don't tell me anything. Favorite. Don't tell me anything. No spoilers. But one thing you told me that now, like when I'm reading your stuff, is you try to put yourself into like one character in your books is you, basically. And
the sole exception is my collection of supernatural stories called Stranger Than Fiction. And actually my experience in the Sallie House is in that book.
Oh, okay.
Well, then that's next on my list, because I'm like, which one do I want to read next? So yeah. And I know Marley, I'm still rolling over all the characters in my head. And I haven't quite figured out who you might be in that one. I think I know, but I don't.
Just remember, in every book, I can either be male or female.
Exactly.
That's how I vicariously, explored possibilities before I had the courage to come out and do it myself.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that would be a great way. I mean, yeah, that would be an awesome way to do it. But yeah, I haven't quite figured out Marley, and like I said, I'm only to them boarding the Titanic in Dark Passenger. So I don't think I'm there yet to make a decision on who I think but do you ever like post clues as to, if you're trying to figure out, look at this scene and maybe or look at, this or that. Do you post clues anywhere?
Sometimes I'll put in certain mannerisms that my friends and relatives will spot dead on.
Oh, okay.
People who get to know me will easily be able to do it, but especially in Dark Passenger, it's like so Captain Obvious.
Have I met this character yet?
Oh yes. I
have. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm down to one of two people. Okay. I think that kind of makes it fun for the reader, because you really have to concentrate on reading and absorbing the book, and even rereading, because then you're like, okay, let me go back, and am I right? And it's almost like a little puzzle that you've left, little
Easter eggs.
To just kind of add that extra layer. And I love that because like I said, it was
fun. Very fun.
Yeah, I'm still pondering on Marley. I want to say it's the butler, but I could be wrong.
You don't want to give too much away.
Email me later and tell me if I'm right.
They need to read their books.
They need to read the book.
Yes.
Because if you like Christmas Carol, and Christmas Carol in my family was huge. My dad liked to watch every single version. He would start December 1st, and we would watch every single version of A Christmas Carol that's out there.
Even including the really horrible Western version with Jack Palance and Ricky Schroeder.
I forgot about that.
If I want to save you the agony, don't see it.
Yeah, don't want.
I wanted to pull my hair out. Well, I did have hair. I wanted to pull my hair out. The dialogue was
that one was awful. That one was awful. But anyway, it's like, Dad likes it. Let's just let him have his joy. We're not taking away from his joy. But yeah, the entire, every single version, I'm like, well, Scrooge changes and life changes for the Cratchits and blah, blah, blah. Does he pass on, is he out of purgatory or whatever?
Those are my questions.
And so, thank you for giving your interpretation of what could happen tomorrow, what possibly might have happened.
At the beginning of the book, on the dedication, I dedicated it to two guys who inspired me the most.
Mm-hmm.
Rod Serling, the creator of The Twilight Zone.
Yes.
And with profound apologies, I also dedicated it to Charles Dickens.
Yes. Just reading it, I'm thinking maybe if you could go back in time and talk to Dickens and say, look, in the future, here's what I'm going to do. I almost think he'd be like, okay, maybe, That could work.
I don't know.
I'm interested.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'd be terrified to do that. I mean,
That's
that'd be
true.
like going back in time and meeting Shakespeare and give him a play and say, "So, what do you think?"
True.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
But when I was 9 years old, I read a Christmas Carol for the first time in class, and we read it as a group. One person would read Save One, and on until the book was done. And when it was over, I raised my little pork pie hand and I said, "I got a question." And for a 9-year-old, this is a profound question. I said, "Marley should have some kind of forgiveness because he saved the soul of his best friend on earth. This should mean something. You should get suck points in heaven for that."
Oh, yeah.
And then the teacher said, "Well, that's the story. That's the way Mr. Dickens wrote it." And I said, "Well, Dickens was wrong." I mean, the
That's
beautiful
funny.
arrogance of
Yeah.
a 9-year-old.
But I have to agree with 9-year-old you, because I mean, Marley orchestrated all of this to save Scrooge and, make him a better human being. And I really think he should have gotten a few links off the chain, something.
Yeah.
Something in recognition
Weekend in Bermuda, something.
Yeah. It's like, you can take the chain off now, at least, something. So thank you for giving him that redemption. Let's cover Star Trek, because I know you're
Well, sure,
he's kind of.
I did original series. I did Next Generation. I did Deep Space Nine, and what's the one?
And now we're into Voyager.
Voyager.
We're into
Yeah,
Voyager.
I was more Star Wars when I was younger, but then as I got older, I was more Star Trek. So I've only just now been able to have the time to actually go through the episodes and absorb it more than just going in and out for an episode here and there. So I've been able to absorb it a lot more.
So who is your favorite captain so far, and why is it Benjamin Sisko?
Oh, it is a toss up between Sisko and Picard.
Oh,
it really is, because there's strengths on either side.
In the order of the series that you mentioned, I like Jean-Luc Picard. I like him because he is more a diplomat, and he has to be more responsible when he takes actions on his starship, because unlike Captain Kirk, whom I love as well, Kirk didn't have to have the burden of children and families on his starship.
That's true.
It's true.
That's true.
That we knew of. Yes.
Yeah, that we know of. Yes.
Yeah.
But Picard from episode 1, has his first officer, kind of coddle him and tell him he's not good with children and he has families on board. He has to take, when he thinks of possibilities of combat or whatnot, he has to take into consideration that there are innocents aboard his ship that will also be affected by this. So sometimes it is within the tradition of Starfleet to use the better, the better part of valor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But I know I moderate a Star Trek memes page on Facebook, and I know one thing that is constantly brought up between Picard and Sisko in relation to Q is
Sisko he punched him once and went away.
Yeah, it's like, Picard quoted Shakespeare to him, and the man has irritated him ever since. And Sisko's like, "Nah, I don't think so," and punches him dead in the face.
I think the thing when Q looked up at him surprised and said, "You hit me. Picard never hit me." And then Sisko said, "I'm not Picard."
I'm not Picard. And it's like, no, you're not.
I am kind of excited about the new Star Trek series that's going to be starting, Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
Now that one's going to take place on the Enterprise under Captain Pike.
Yeah.
With a young Mr. Spock, who's just a science officer. He hasn't yet reached that level where he can say, "Well, we can do this," and because number one's going to say that.
Yes.
And it's very interesting how they're going to do that and how they're going to blend the two series together, because, like, I know Discovery takes place a decade before the original series.
Yeah,
and then
there's
Strange
a Spock.
New Worlds take place in that buffer zone between they're already established on Discovery and before they've reached, Talos 4 and done that all for the first time. and before Captain Pike's unfortunate accident.
Yes, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I know with Discovery is, just from what I'm seeing on my page, Discovery is getting so much hate.
Yes, it is.
Within the Star Trek world, and I'm like, I for all the wrong reasons. For all the wrong reasons.
Well, I think whenever there's something new on Star Trek, there's always going to be like
the hate for
purists.
the new.
It's not canon. It's not blah blah blah. And then after they see it after so many years, like, okay, that's okay.
Well, but with Discovery, it's getting a lot of hate for being quote unquote, and I'm really starting to hate this word, woke.
Oh God.
And the number of people that are like, well, Roddenberry, wouldn't have liked the, so political. And I'm like, did you not watch did you?
Yeah, he's always had a pulse.
He's always had a political
it's
bent to Star Trek. Granted, I don't think he foresaw where the world would go.
I think it was just as a humanist thing. I'm not really sure it's a political thing. Just politics happens to happen once you are on the humanistic side of things, where politics will pop up.
Yeah,
I think the politics come after the humanism in his work, rather than politics then humanism. If that makes any sense.
It does. What amazes me, and I tell this to Star Trek fans myself when they do hate Discovery, I said, keep in mind when the original series came out, it had its fair share of haters too. I mean, it was canceled.
Yeah. It was canceled and then brought back.
Yes.
And
you know what saved Star Trek? You know what saved Star Trek? Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Because when Star Wars came out and became the surprise hit it was, and all that, the suits at Paramount says, do we have anything that we can compete with this or do something that's a little bit better?
Well, we did, but
someone kind of meekly raised their head and said, we had a property once called Star Trek. It says, good, let's see what we can do with that. And boom, the rest is,
and there you go. Motion picture came to be. Yeah.
And let us not forget the woman that even like greenlit Star Trek,
Lucille Ball.
Yes, the mother of Star Trek, as she's been called, because it was done under Desilu.
Yep.
And if it weren't for that fabulous redhead, we wouldn't even know about the Star Trek universe.
And not only did she do that, she went above and beyond. And after the first pilot was turned down by the networks because they said it was too cerebral, she gave a green light to do a redo and do another pilot episode, which ultimately became the episode where No Man Has Gone Before.
Yes. So kudos to Lucille Ball and her place in Star Trek history. But yeah, I mean, because even the original series, come on, the kiss between Kirk and Uhuru, it's like the Southern...
so many people freaked out over that. It's like, so is bathed in controversy when it just appeared as, and I like, but going back to being cerebral, I like that. It's like the suits are saying, oh, American people are too freaking stupid. They won't get it, which is hilarious to me, because like, I think if you brought something cerebral to it, it might make your audience think a little more, might make them a little smarter. Who knows?
Yeah, there's times,
I just find that very funny.
Yeah, there's times for stupid entertainment, and then there's times for something that generates conversation.
Exactly.
But I don't run a television news station, so I don't know.
Back then in the 60s, everything that Roddenberry was doing was like a cut above the rest. I mean, Lost in Space was using strings on the Jupiter 2, where as they used blue screen technology, which was fairly new and quite expensive to allow the Enterprise to fly through space.
Yeah.
Later on, after they were competing with Star Trek and all that, they did go to blue screen, but it was like later on in like the third or fourth season when they started doing that.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of these, I met some Star Trek people at a convention, and they were of the, not necessarily liking the police persuasion. And I said, the creator of Star Trek used to be a Los Angeles police officer.
Yeah, that's how he got somebody to read the script.
Yep.
Was he went in uniform and scared the crap out of the guy.
When I said that, they thought I made it up or something. I said, look it up. I mean, you look up Kirk's combination on his safe in his quarters.
Yeah.
Why don't you look up some history?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't care what you think about like episode whatever in season whatever. Why did you have this happen? No, look into the history of things. Look into,
Yeah, when they say
that
that,
explains it all. Yeah.
yeah, when they say, they start going into the episodes, I kind of cut them off short, and I say, listen, I'm with you there. I feel your pain. I can't stand the third season episode, the apple, or not the apple, the space hippie one. What's that one?
Oh, I'm blanking. Like an hour from now, I'm gonna go, oh, but I understand. Yeah, the space hippie one.
Journey to Eden or something like that.
Something like that. Yes.
I can't stand the space hippie one. I mean, that one makes no sense to me. I mean, it looks like that they probably, they just got together, and I think the last couple episodes of Star Trek were just meh. But however, I did like the episode Turnabout Intruder. That could be the only body swap transgender-esque story that the original series came up with way back in the 60s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But speaking of that though, what are your thoughts? Because a lot of people, and once I started hearing this, I'm like, yes, Jadzia Dax. A lot of people are like, she was transgender. And it's like, yeah, because she switched genders. Like every time they put that worm in somebody else,
basically every generation.
Every time that worm had to go into somebody else, it was like, okay, now I'm a man, now I'm a woman, and
yeah.
And she, with the drawbacks of reincarnation, where you kind of forget the person you were before you get regenerated, she actually recalls every single memory from every single life.
Exactly. Because they had that one whole episode of her, like her past selves could go into somebody else and they could talk, and she could interact with her past selves. And I found that interesting, especially since she had Quark be the one that was a mother. And
yeah,
I loved that one. But yeah,
back to favorite Discovery. I love Tilly.
Yes,
I love her character for two reasons. She's energetic. She's on the cusp of becoming. She's sort of like their Chekhov.
Yes.
She's so green she could be mistaken for celery.
Yes.
And for the historical fact that she said the queen mother of all dirty words on television in Star Trek.
She did.
Nah.
She did.
I'm not to that one yet. So
yeah, she said that. It was in the first season. Spoilers.
Okay. Spoilers. Oh, by the way, we don't have any limitations on language on our podcast, so you can be as rude and use whatever kind of language you want. It's all good.
She said fuck.
She did.
Well, then there you go.
She said fuck. And
because I've written myself a lot worse than that. So
yeah,
there you go.
But I also love her because she's really coming into herself. She's really, like you said, she's on that cusp, and she's not a size 2.
No,
she's not a size 2. But unfortunately, another thing I deal with on the Star Trek page is the fat shaming that they give Tilly. And I'm like,
oh, they do?
Yes. Oh my God. I don't know how many times I've had to delete stuff because, Tilly's a fat hoe. No, she's not. She's solidly built. Yes, she's not a size 2, but you know what? She's got a brain and she's learning how to use it.
Yes, she does. God bless her.
Yeah. And, it's just the, I'm like, give it up, people.
Oh yeah,
not all women are size 2s, and women have brains.
I mean, as much as inclusion does mean plus size people as well. They exist. They have stories. They have feelings. They are people.
And she has epic hair too.
Exactly.
I love her hair.
And she's happy with who she is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm tired of that trope of the chubby person trying to be thin. It's like, where is the character who is chubby and they like it? They don't care.
And
they have relationships, they have friends, and they're happy with who they are.
And Tilly is becoming that character because she was very insecure when you first met her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the more she's gone on, the more she's like, here I am, world. I have a brain. I know how to use it. Hear me roar, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm really loving that. I'm loving having I'm gonna pronounce her name wrong.
Tig Notaro.
Tig Notaro.
Yes. The comedian Tig Notaro. Yes,
in a serious role. I mean, she does add some funny bits, but
it's more or less a serious character.
She's more or less a serious character. I always love Doug Jones though. Everything he does.
Yes. I met him. He is a darling man. I mean, he's very, very attentive to listening to his fans. Of course, when I met him, this was way before he did Discovery.
Yeah.
He said, I remember there was a teenager there that was aspiring to get into special effects or caricatures like he does. Mm-hmm. And he asked for his, 2 cents of advice. And I remember what he said. He said, it was so profound. He says, show up on time. Don't complain.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the secret to his success.
Yeah. Because I know I was gonna say, wait, where is he? This guy? Nope. That guy there. Derek Mears is I'm more friends with his wife, but he played Jason in the 2009 reboot of Friday the 13th. But he does a lot of acting with the prosthetics and all of that. He was in Swamp Thing. That was on the CW for only one season. Don't get me started on that. But yeah, I know just listening to some of his stories about having to sit there for hours to get that stuff on, to get, all of that. It's like, but it's going to make the character epic. It's going to make it amazing. Have patience with the process. Have patience with it. So yeah, I want to meet. Doug Jones is on my list too. I have so many people I want to meet. I'm trying to think because yeah, I'm still like trying to process Dark Passenger. So every time I want to talk to you, it's like, okay, so
would you like me to tell you what inspired me to write that book?
Yes, please. Because like I said, ancient Egypt artifacts, the Titanic, the whole Egyptian curse, I'm there with you. So tell me.
When I was doing research for the book, I was just going to originally just do a very historical, book about the Titanic. The horror element didn't really come into it until later on when I was doing my research. I came across an old British news article in a 1922 paper of I think it was The Sun or something like that, which today is more like the National Enquirer, but c'est la vie.
Yeah.
This news article said that the sinking of the Titanic was not because it struck an iceberg. The sinking was because of a mummy's curse on a sarcophagus that was on board in the cargo hold going to the New York Museum of Natural History. That put a seed in my mind.
Yeah, I can see.
I was thinking about that because when I was a child, either on late Friday nights or mid-Saturday evenings, there was either a creature feature or a Fright Night program that the UHF independent channels did when I was, knee-high to a June bug.
Yeah.
And they always used to show movies like the old Hammer films, starring Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, or the Amicus films, one of them being the Doctor Who nobody likes to talk about, but played by Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do a story after I read that, where there were a series of murders on board the Titanic. And then the impossible comes into play. And by sheer luck, they come across the retired Scotland Yard detective who was on second class. And it also gave me an opportunity within the course of the story to do the unfortunate classisms that were going on during the Gilded Age.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you were first class, you were first class. If you were third class, buddy, you weren't allowed to breathe unless they gave you permission to do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was a great way to introduce all the social challenges and darkness of the early 20th century. So I embraced that right off the bat. But later, I saw an old live television program that was hosted by Telly Savalas called Return to the Titanic. And they were going down and showing us that they got all these things, and kind of like a Al Capone's vault kind of ending.
Yeah.
They had the assistant purser's safe there, and they were going to open it on live television, show us what was in it. But before all that excitement happened, Telly Savalas told the story of the curse of the mummy. And I peeked up because I already knew about the sarcophagus and all that.
Yeah.
And he told all these stories about all the unfortunate things that happened and how someone snuck it on board the Titanic, putting it underneath their automobile. And there was only one automobile taken on the Titanic. It was a red Renault. And I think it was owned by a passenger named William Steele. But that, like, okay, I'm doing this. And then that night I put in the paper and it was born.
It was born. Yeah.
There you go.
Because I know I did. They had the Titanic exhibit come through Indianapolis at the Children's Museum of all places. But okay. But yeah, when you went in, they gave you a card and it had the name of a passenger and what class, like where they were from and what class they were traveling in. And I was given a third class passenger. And I'm like, they didn't make it. Because then you went through the whole exhibit, seeing everything that they pulled up. And they even had like a huge, like, faux iceberg that, how long can you keep your hand on this before it hurts? And it's like, yeah, not long. And you made it all the way through the exhibit. And at the end was a list of survivors, which wasn't very long. And then the list of the people who didn't make it, which was huge, and mostly the third class passengers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you were supposed to look for the person whose card you just carried throughout this whole exhibit and look for their name. And I'm like, I'm not even going to look over at the survivors because I have a third class passenger. Did
you survive? Because there were.
They did not.
Trickle.
Yeah, they did not. I'm like, it's going to take me longer to look through the list of people who did not make it than the people who did. So I'm just going to third class passenger. I'm going to say the odds are not in their favor.
No, they were not.
And they did not make it.
There
were some third class passengers that made it through.
Yeah, mostly women.
Whatever. Yeah, the grace of gender or age, whatever. But I cannot remember her name, and it kills me. But I know it was a woman. So that but the quote from the Titanic movie was in my head where they were like, well, it's not enough lifeboats for everybody. And well, it's enough lifeboats for the right people, I think was the quote. And something that has always stuck with me. It's like, that was the attitude. The third class passengers, they could swim or whatever, but we have lifeboats for the right people.
Yeah.
And
some of them weren't even filled to capacity.
Yeah. They only had half.
Some of the crew were so green, they didn't understand that the davits that they had that lowered the lifeboats were capable of holding up to 60, maybe even 70 passengers in each boat.
Yeah, and some of them left with like 20,
Yeah, one of them left with like 6.
Yeah, and very few were afraid to go back then because, well, they'll overwhelm the boat and we'll all sink and,
or the suction will bring us down when it goes down.
Yeah, or whatever. And it's like, and so, the majority of them then froze to death, those that didn't drown. And it's just, but that has always stuck with me was I got that card and I looked and saw it was a third class passenger and it's automatic. I got
a chance when I went, they had an exhibit here. I got a chance to touch the big piece of the Titanic hull that they had on display.
Oh, wow.
So I can honestly say I've touched the Titanic.
Wow. Because I know this exhibit had like the teacups that were still in perfect condition.
Yeah.
Absolute perfect condition. But then they also had a display of like these 2 styrofoam cups that they had taken down with them to show you the effects of the pressure.
Yes.
That low. And so they had like a regular styrofoam cup and then the exact same styrofoam cup that went down with them that was, smushed down into looking like it was for a leprechaun, or a fairy or something. It was, so small, but it was the exact same, material. and it really showed the pressure that is that deep down, you know.
When I think about that episode in history, I can't help but wonder who or what kind of caliber of character I would have. Would I be the brave guy who stayed at the end and got off the ship with the baker, or would I be, like Ismay and just walk into a boat and save my life because I could?
Well, and I'm blanking on the couple.
Mm-hmm.
Isidore, the Mr. and Mrs. Isidore Strauss.
That's right. I was like, yeah, that just they laid in bed holding each other.
When you go to the Macy's store in New York, they have a beautiful plaque there that's dedicated to their memory, because he owned Macy's.
Yeah. And I mean, it's what you can sit here and think, oh, well, I would, I'd be this person, but you really just don't know
until it happens.
You really don't know until you're in it. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with me being a flight attendant. I'm a flight attendant. Anyway, you
post
don't know
9/11.
You don't know what's going to happen or how you're actually going to act or react, I should say, to when something like that actually happens. You can say, well, in my head, this scenario and that scenario, but until something actually happens, you don't know what your innermost character is going to be until it does happen. And I had kind of an interesting incident with that, where I thought that we had an engine malfunction and we're going to go down, and that was the go-to. And I was very happy.
Things he's not told me yet, so I'm hearing this for the first time.
But anyway, I was
glad I have tequila on board.
I had like a second of doubt, but then all of a sudden everything kicked in. And I'm like, let's do this, and I was really, gung ho about getting these people off, blah, blah, blah. So I was happy with my reaction. And that was one of the things that I really took a look at and said, I can do this. I can do this. So there you go.
Are you happy with your wife's reaction right now? Just hear this for the first time. Sorry, marital discord right here in your interview.
No. No, it's cool. I often put myself in the heads of the crew of the Titanic, because almost in every Titanic movie, without a fault, the crew isn't really a part of the plot. I mean, the captain talks to Thomas Andrews, and Thomas Andrews tells him, I'm sorry, Captain, we're fooked, And then you got the guy putting people in the davits, but you never have a story about the Titanic that involves the officers or the captain. And I wanted to change that, even though it's fictional and it's totally off the chart being a horror movie.
Yeah.
You get to get involved with the Titanic crew, the captain, the fifth officer, the sixth officer, the second officer, the chief officer, first officer. You get involved with all those people.
Yeah.
They actually were there, and of course they didn't battle
the supernatural being. Yeah.
But I did get one contact that I'm very proud of. The great grandniece of Captain Smith liked my book and said that she shared it with her family. And they all said, well, I'm using the original pronoun here. They said, well, at least he did a good job of depicting, EJ the way that he is remembered in the family.
Oh, that was nice.
I did a lot of research, and I made sure that if I was going to say something about their personal lives, I would know it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Thomas Andrews. Thomas Andrews ends up being a friend of the original or the main character.
Yeah.
And in order to have Andrews talk, I had to study the principles of early 20th century naval architecture, compartmentalization, engineering, and some basic wiring of electricity, because electricity on a ship back then was still, new technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the communicators that they used to talk to each other, that was state of the art back then too, because before that, they blew whistles down tubes and talked to each other through funnels connected to a tube.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which I'm sure was so efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the ships became too damn big for tubes to do that, because by the time it reached them, it would be a muffle or a little whisper.
Yeah, exactly.
I put myself into the crew's shoes, and I hope I did them a good depiction. When I go to the afterlife, I want to see if I can talk to them, and they're going to look at me and go, "Earl, you sucked."
I hope not.
I hope not to. I think they would be
Yeah.
thrilled.
Yeah, but the captain is one person that I've always kind of had a little bit of sympathy for him, because it was supposed to be his big retirement send-off.
Yes.
This was supposed to be, him bringing this gorgeous new ship to New York, his last trip, the whole nine. But then he ended up really kind of, to use a horrible phrase, caught between a rock and a hard place, because White Star was like, push, 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 go, go, go. Let's increase our speed because we're doing so great. And he's like, I don't know, and and then things went horribly wrong. Yeah.
I put some woulda, coulda, shouldas in there that you're going to enjoy when you get to them.
Yeah, because he's one person that I've always been like, God, if he could have just turned to him and gone, look, are you the captain of this ship? No, then let me do this. Let me do what I know I need to do. I don't know if it would have ended up any differently. I don't know, but
at the beginning of their voyage, they almost collided with another ship, and they were delayed leaving Southampton for almost an hour until they resecured that ship, and the tugboats could take them out into the channel.
That there, I'd have been like, I think I'm gonna wait.
That's where fate comes into play. Fate is kind of a bitch. If it is your fate to do this, nothing on earth is gonna.
That's true. Because I've often thought, if you could go back in time and prevent something from happening, would you? And then you're like, I don't know, because does that one event have to happen in order for the good stuff that came out of, because sometimes there's good stuff that comes out of an immense tragedy.
Yes.
It's so
the after effects of the Titanic disaster created the International Ice Patrol.
Yeah.
And they still have, and to this day, they still fly a C-130 over the site where the Titanic sank, and they, throw down some wreaths in honor of that ship and crew and passengers that perished there. That alone is amazing, considering how easy it is for Western culture to forget history and just move on.
Yeah,
exactly. Because
there were also a lot of fake broadcasts and Marconi grams and all that were sent that said that no, don't worry, everybody's been safe, they're all coming back. And, everybody had that high hope, and then when they finally had that bubble burst, and after the effect of shock of realizing that whom they thought was alive had perished, they went to the government and said, we got to stop these people from sending out false information and stuff like that just to make headlines. So one of the effects of that was the creation of the FCC. So some of the Titanic disaster created the Federal Communications Commission.
Exactly. It's like one thing in history, a tragedy in history that for some reason I got fascinated with, was the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. Out of that tragedy came all of these safety rules that are, the OSHA rules that are in place now to try and prevent another thing like that, and it's like,
life is nothing but cause and effect.
And so it's like, that's another thing, if I could go back in time and prevent that, would I? Well, no, maybe. I don't know, because out of that came things that have saved millions and millions of lives since then. So
when everybody uses that tomb, well, we can go back in time and kill Hitler or something like that.
Then another one would pop up.
No, what would have happened is that if you did go back in time and kill Hitler, you would create a paradox, because if you killed Hitler, how in the world did you get in a time machine in your time and come back to kill Hitler?
Exactly. Yeah, because Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
in the
you've got
original,
that.
it would never have happened, and you would never been inspired to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, if you did come back in time and do that, you wouldn't be able to get back to your time, because then there would have been no need to create the time machine at all, and it wouldn't
It's like, you want
exist.
to tell
So
these people, didn't you watch Back to the Future 2 and take notes?
yeah, but I don't have a souped up DeLorean. So, there's that.
If they ever remake that, I hope they keep the DeLorean, because the DeLorean is coming back.
Is it?
I would
Yep.
love to have a DeLorean. Oh my gosh, that's
Just
like
for the
well, I was
It's going to
always a
be an
fan of
electric
the
car, though.
well, I was
that
always
would be
a-
cool.
I was always a fan of the odd car in like TV series and films and stuff where it was just
Yep.
where they had one-offs or just prototypes or whatever. I always thought it was interesting is this person thought differently to go this route with it, and it just came up with some amazing stuff. So especially in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they had very original thoughts on vehicles. Not my little tangent. I am so sorry.
It's okay. We understand. You're allowed to go off on tangents, since I go off on them all the time.
Anyway,
I'm trying to think if there's anything else, because
I
I've
was gonna
gone
say
through
that-
all of my notes, because I mean
You've gone
you've won awards for Dark Passenger, won an award for
Yes.
best occult.
Best in occult horror.
okay.
Yes.
Also, it won the best horror title in the Independent Audiobook Awards.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's that.
Yeah.
The only other book that's done as well is a book that I call Knowing God, and it won best in supernatural romance, which I never really considered myself a romantic person, but you get them. When you get them, you take them.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
wherever the world leads you, or your characters lead you, I guess. I don't know. Which kind of circles me back to
Go
hang
ahead.
on.
All right.
Which kind of circles me back to Christmas Carol. Have you ever seen The Man Who Invented Christmas? Which is
I have the DVD. I just haven't had the time yet to watch it. So no, I haven't.
As a writer, I would be interested to hear your thoughts on it, because it is all about Dickens writing A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's why I purchased it. I purchased it without even watching it because of that. But it's like I got a stack of DVDs that I'm going to watch.
Yeah.
I hear you.
That's one of them. That's
Yeah.
one of them. I'm
It's
fascinated with Christmas stories.
Yeah.
I mean, even people who don't share the belief, faith, all the things that come with that day, they seem to enjoy them for the simple human need to, smile or hug your sweetie or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think
who doesn't like my favorite is A Christmas Story. That's my favorite. I can relate to that because everybody had a Christmas where they want to get that one quintessential thing that was like their Ark of the Covenant for that year.
Yeah.
That was my father's favorite Christmas movie of all time, to the point where he had the leg lamp, like a shorter one, not the full size, but like the little like night or table side version of it.
It's a major award.
Yeah. And to the point that when he died, I was looking for a tattoo to kind of honor my dad. And my nephew was trying to help me design it. And we were coming up with all sorts of things. I was like, God, I wish there's a way we could incorporate the leg lamp. And somebody's like, the what? I'm like, you've never heard of the leg lamp? What? You've never heard of the leg lamp? And so I Googled leg lamp, and you know how Google gives you, do you mean? And I typed in Christmas Story leg lamp. And then one of the suggestions was tattoo.
Yeah.
And I was like, why, yes, Google, I want to see that. And I ended up, I can't get my leg up here, but it's like this big leg lamp tattoo on my leg. Because
I love it.
My nephew and I looked at that and I was like, that's it right there. That's what I want. Let's go on my leg now.
Kids today, if it's not on Halo or Final Fantasy, they don't know.
I know, but I could not believe, and I was like, come on, you'll shoot your eye out, the whole
Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah, everything. He even the first Christmas you were with the airline? You Had to Work Christmas. It was like
Yeah.
one of the first Christmases.
Oh, it was
that
the first one.
Yeah. He had to work Christmas, and the only place open for him to eat
Was the Chinese
was a
restaurant.
Chinese restaurant. And so, yeah, he did sit there with his food and kind of look down at it and goes, rah, 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 rah. It all circles back. It all circles back.
Yeah. Somebody comes out and chops the head off on
Yeah.
on the duck.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can you think of anything else you want to?
No,
Because I mean,
this has
we
been
covered Star
fascinating.
Trek for you.
Yeah, I
Because
was very interested.
Yeah.
Just kind of letting you take the reins and talk about some favorite things. And I love watching you just go off on stuff that you're really like totally into, as far as like paranormal and stuff like that.
you know,
And
because if there's one thing I have trouble with, it's talking.
yeah.
Uh,
So no, I think we can always bring Allison
exactly.
back.
Exactly.
Well, here's a chance for go ahead and plug anything that you
Yes,
have coming up.
plug away on anything. New books coming
Alright.
out.
And anything new that's coming up. that you
Personal
want people to know
appearances
about.
coming up. Anything.
I do have a horror novel that I'm finishing up and doing my editing on too.
Okay.
Okay.
It's called Battle Not with Monsters,
Okay.
and it's going to be about a paranormal investigation group, which I hope to turn into a series.
Oh, call
Uh,
me. I'm your girl.
We're both actors, so let us know. We'll fly out and do a small cameo.
I'll be the owner of a haunted location going, and then the ghost shoved me down the stairs. I'll be that girl. I will be that woman for you.
I just got to get it going.
Yeah.
But
yeah. That could be
Well,
fun.
I'm with you.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Oh, we hear you. It's hard to get stuff
Oh yeah.
out there.
Yeah. We're. I work on. I'm a writer. She helps with writing. Blah blah blah. So we know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can look me up on Amazon. My author's page you can find by going to the only novel that I have written in my name now. The name of the book is called The Keeper at the Gates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And when you get there, just click on my name, Allison Kirch, and then all my books will come up, because Amazon was kind enough
Gotcha.
to merge both of my authors' pages.
Oh,
on there.
great.
That was cool,
Great.
yes.
Yeah. Because
It was very cool of them.
that could have been, that could
I
have been like
have-
pulling hen's teeth.
I have a Twitter account. Just look up Allison Kirch.
Okay.
Awesome.
Facebook, same way, Allison Kirch. If you want to get to my website, I have immortalized my origin name, and my website is donaldallenkirch.com.
Okay.
Okay.
No spaces between the names,
Just all one word.
all one word. When I get my legal name change and everything is legal,
Yeah.
Yes.
I am gonna hire the same webmaster who made the original and see if they would merge my two worlds.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That.
And so right now they can just look me up under donaldallenkirch.com or Amazon. And if they would like to contact me on my Amazon page under About the Author at the very bottom, there is a email address that I keep specifically for people who want to get in contact with me, fan mail, stuff like that. And
Okay.
they want to contact me and ask me a question or shoot me a suggestion, I'm open for everything, because I honestly believe that even if a book is published, it's not done yet. Every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, but then sometimes there's questions at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, bringing it full circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Christmas Carol. It's like, what happened to Marley? But you've answered that, or at least given
That's one. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I think
you've
that,
given an idea. This is what
Yeah.
I think, and
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Tobias was my favorite character.
who? Tobias?
Tobias
Yes.
was my
Yes.
favorite character.
Like I said, I think just email me if I'm right. But she's never going to tell me. But anyway,
Maybe you'll find out next time.
yeah, maybe I'll find
There you
out
go.
next time, because we will definitely bring you back anytime you have anything you want to talk about. Because like I said, why are we not BFFs? I think we could so be BFFs. So yeah, I mean, this has been amazing. But all good things must come to an end. So yeah, we have been talking to the amazing author, Allison Kirch. Check out her story. Like I said, I'm halfway through I've 2 where they're loading onto the Titanic in Dark Passenger. So I have a feeling that the best is yet to come. So yes. So check out all of her stuff on Amazon. It's been an immense pleasure. I'm glad we finally got hooked up with you, because it's been, this, that, and the other, trying to hook up with you for this interview. So I'm so glad we finally managed it. Yes.
I enjoyed myself. Call me back anytime.
Great. Yeah. And anytime you want to come back on and promote anything or just talk ghosts or whatever.
I'll send you an email.
Definitely. Okay. Definitely. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so that was the amazing Allison Kirch. I'm not going to lie, after we stopped recording, we talked to her for like another, half an hour or so. We are definitely going to be bringing her back.
Oh yeah, she was so much fun.
She was so much fun. We may just bring her back just to talk to Star Trek, because that's what we were talking about. So yeah, definitely bringing her back. I think Allison and I need to be BFFs, because,
Oh yeah.
She's just amazing. So we're getting more interviews lined up every day. Don't forget to check out Allison Kirch on Amazon. The books I'm only 2 books in, but she's amazing. Check out our sponsor, Hunters Against Hate, at huntersagainst-hate.com.
There you go.
You can get cool t-shirts, stickers, lapel pins, all sorts of stuff. And all proceeds go to LGBTQ organizations. So until next time, everybody, we'll see you later.
Bye now.